All right, so get this. We're diving into some truly inspiring stories today.
I love it.
8 remarkable Indigenous youth leaders
Wow.
are about to share their stories
Cool.
with the Senate Committee on Indigenous Peoples.
Okay.
It's called the Voices of Youth Indigenous Leaders event,
Okay.
and it's happening on October 30th.
Oh, there.
What's really fascinating about this event is that it's not just about listening to these young leaders
Right.
aged 18 to 35.
Wow. Yeah.
It's about giving them a platform to directly inform the Senate's work on Indigenous issues.
That's awesome.
They're bringing their lived experiences, their hopes,
Yeah.
and their calls to action right to the heart of policymaking.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're not just talking about any young people here.
Okay.
We're talking about individuals who are already making waves in their communities.
Wow.
Take Bradley Bacon from Quebec, for example.
Okay.
This guy started getting involved in his community at 16,
16.
first with the church,
Okay.
and then as an interpreter.
Wow. That's awesome.
And that early engagement is something you see again and again with these leaders.
Yeah.
Bradley's commitment just snowballed from there. He became the board chair for his community radio station,
Cool.
participated in Quebec's youth parliament,
Mm.
and now he owns a consulting company serving his community.
That's awesome.
It's incredible to see that kind of dedication and drive at such a young age.
Totally.
And it sounds like his dad, a former band leader,
Oh, wow.
instilled a strong sense of community service in him.
Oh, that's great.
And speaking of leadership inspired by family,
Yes.
we've got Justin Langan from Manitoba.
Okay.
He's a Métis youth advocate who's all about empowering communities
Right.
through education, sustainability, and cultural preservation.
Awesome.
It's fascinating how Justin seamlessly blends tradition and progress.
Totally.
He leads Okanada, a nonprofit supporting Indigenous youth,
Okay.
and his work is deeply rooted in his community's resilience and the teachings of his elders.
Yeah.
He embodies this idea that preserving culture isn't about staying stuck in the past.
Yeah.
It's about carrying that wisdom forward.
Yeah. Yep.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Oh.
We've got Crystal Starr Lewis from British Columbia.
Okay.
She's a BC Assembly of First Nations youth representative.
Cool.
And hold on to your hats, because she's also a new first-generation speaker of her language.
Wow. That's amazing.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Crystal's story underscores the vital importance of language revitalization in Indigenous communities.
Mm.
It's about reclaiming identity, culture,
Yeah.
and a way of life that was almost lost.
Yeah.
And to see someone so young, not only learning their language, but actively leading and creating impact at the provincial, national, and even international levels
Right.
is truly inspiring.
Right.
It really makes you wonder about the ripple effect of her work, right?
Totally.
Okay, let's switch gears for a moment and talk about healthcare.
Okay.
We've got Breen Mollitz from Alberta, a
Okay.
health policy advisor at the Métis National Council.
Great.
She's laser focused on transforming health outcomes for her people.
Yeah.
Breen is a force to be reckoned with.
Wow.
She's tackling the very real health disparities faced by Métis people,
Okay.
advocating for culturally safe care.
Right.
And she's even pursuing an Indigenous public health graduate program to further strengthen her work.
That's awesome.
This is someone who's not just talking about change.
Yeah.
She's actively equipping herself with the tools to make it happen.
Amazing.
Now, let's talk about the power of storytelling.
Okay.
We've got Faith McGuire from Alberta,
Okay.
a documentary filmmaker who's using her art to challenge the forgotten people label often attached to the Métis.
Oh, wow.
Faith's work raises an important question.
Okay.
How do we ensure that Indigenous youth feel seen,
Yeah.
heard, and valued?
Totally.
Her approach using photography and film to tell her people's stories
Right.
is a powerful way to combat those harmful stereotypes and ignite a passion in Métis youth for their history.
Totally.
It's like she's saying, hey, we're here.
Yeah.
We have a rich and vibrant culture,
I totally.
and we're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
All right, ready for another incredible leader?
I'm ready.
Meet Rihanna Marasti McKay from Manitoba.
Okay.
She's a Nahitha artist,
Cool.
writer,
Mm.
and advocate from Barren Lands First Nation.
All right.
Anderdy, get this,
Right.
an architectural intern with number 10 MERT Architectural Group.
Wow. Impressive.
Rihanna's multifaceted approach to leadership is fascinating.
Yeah.
She's not just working within her community.
Right.
She's bringing Indigenous voices and knowledge systems to the forefront of the architecture field.
Yeah. Cool.
And she's not stopping there.
Okay.
She holds leadership positions with the Royal Architectural Institute of Canada and the University of Manitoba Board of Governors.
Wow. Amazing.
This is someone who's shattering ceilings and redefining what it means to be an Indigenous leader in a contemporary space.
Yeah.
It's so important to see that Indigenous knowledge has a place in all facets of our society. And Rihanna is a shining example of that.
Totally.
Now let's travel east to Nova Scotia to meet Ethan Paul,
Oh,
a Mi'kmaq from Member 2 First Nation.
cool.
Ethan's community involvement is off the charts.
Mm.
He serves on the Students on Ice Alumni Council and the Canadian Youth Road Safety Council.
Wow.
And he leads multiple community projects, like a sexual health book club.
Okay.
It's called Books Plus Pightway.
Love it.
How cool is that?
That's awesome.
The Shailene Paul Memorial Regalia Lending Library.
Wow.
And he's even working on a Mi'kmaq seafood cookbook.
That's so cool.
Ethan's story is a powerful reminder of the importance of intergenerational knowledge transfer. He's inspired by his late grandparents,
Wow.
uncle, and cousin,
Okay.
and he's carrying on their legacy by fostering cultural pride in Lunu youth.
That's beautiful.
It's clear that these young leaders are not just following the footsteps of those who came before them.
Right.
They're blazing their own trails.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, our last leader, Brett Recollet, an Anishinaabe from Whitefish River First Nation in Ontario, is doing just that.
Okay.
He's an Indigenous support worker for a school board,
Oh, cool.
advocating for students within the Western education system.
Right.
Brett's work highlights a critical need, supporting Indigenous students within the existing education system.
Yeah.
He's working to create a culturally safe and inclusive learning environment where these students can thrive.
Totally.
And his dedication is evident in his pursuit of an Indigenous social work degree at Laurentian University.
Wow.
He's also aiming for graduate studies focusing on cultural safety in Indigenous education.
It's great.
And he's involved in various councils and committees at the community, provincial, and national levels.
Amazing.
It's like his mother's advice to be a leader for his community really resonated with him.
Right.
It's remarkable to see how these 8 young leaders are already making a difference in such diverse ways.
Yeah.
But the journey doesn't end there.
Okay.
They're all about to take their advocacy to the next level,
Cool.
right?
Yeah.
And that next level is the Senate Committee on Indigenous Peoples.
Right.
On October 30th, they'll have the opportunity to present their experiences and their calls to action directly to the people who can make a real difference in policy.
Oh, wow.
This is a pivotal moment,
Yeah.
not just for these 8 individuals,
Right.
but for Indigenous communities across Canada.
Totally.
Their voices have the potential to influence decisions that will shape the future for generations to come.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay.
So before we go any further, I
Okay.
want to ask you,
Yeah.
what stands out to you so far?
Hmm.
Which story resonates most with you?
Oh, that's a good question.
We'll be back in a flash to dive deeper into the potential impact of this event and how you can get involved.
Awesome. I'm excited. Honestly, it's hard to choose just one.
Why not?
They're all so incredible in different ways.
Yeah.
What really strikes me is the sheer breadth of their passions
Right.
and the different paths they've chosen. We have artists, advocates, educators, policymakers, entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
It really showcases the multifaceted nature of Indigenous leadership in Canada today.
Yeah. And it's not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Right.
And I think that's what makes this event so compelling.
Totally.
They're all bringing something unique to the table. And their presentations to the Senate committee are bound to be incredibly insightful.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, imagine the range of perspectives they'll be sharing,
Yeah.
from language revitalization and cultural preservation
Right.
to healthcare, education, and economic empowerment.
Totally.
Their calls to action could potentially influence policy across so many crucial areas.
Yeah.
It's like we're getting a glimpse into the future of Indigenous leadership in Canada, and it's vibrant, it's diverse,
Yeah.
and it's full of potential.
Totally.
So that brings us to an important question. How can our listener
Yeah.
and others like them
Yeah.
get involved and support these young leaders?
That is a great question.
So first things first, mark your calendars for October 30th
All right.
and tune in to the Senate Committee on Indigenous Peoples meeting.
Okay.
It's open to the public,
Got it.
both in person and online.
Awesome.
Witnessing their presentations firsthand is an incredible way to learn and be inspired.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And beyond that,
Right.
you can follow these leaders on social media,
Right.
engage with their work,
Yeah.
and amplify their voices within your own networks.
Totally.
Sharing their stories and advocating for the issues they champion can make a real difference.
Absolutely.
And don't underestimate the power of simply listening either.
Right.
Learning from their experiences,
Mm.
understanding their challenges,
Yeah.
and acknowledging their perspectives is a crucial step towards reconciliation.
No, sure.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
These young leaders are not only shaping the future of their communities,
Right.
they're offering all Canadians a valuable opportunity to learn, grow, and contribute to a more inclusive and equitable society.
Love that.
And speaking of contributing,
Yeah.
I'm curious,
Okay.
what are some tangible ways people can support Indigenous youth leadership on a more local level?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
There are so many ways to get involved.
Right.
You can volunteer at organizations that support Indigenous youth,
Yeah.
donate to initiatives that promote their well-being,
Okay.
or even just start conversations within your own circles about the importance of Indigenous leadership.
Right.
You can also support Indigenous businesses,
Yeah.
artists, and creators by choosing to spend your money consciously.
Right.
You can directly contribute to the economic empowerment of Indigenous communities.
Okay.
And remember,
Yeah.
supporting Indigenous youth leadership is an ongoing journey,
Yeah.
not a one-time action.
Right.
It requires a sustained commitment to learning,
Yeah.
unlearning,
Yeah.
and taking action.
Okay.
So as we wrap up this part of the deep dive,
Right.
I want to leave our listener with a final thought.
Okay.
How can you use your own skills, talents, and resources to champion Indigenous youth in your community?
Right.
Whether it's through mentorship, advocacy, or simply spreading awareness, every action,
Yeah.
no matter how small, can make a difference.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah, and it's mind-blowing to think about,
Yeah.
the ripple effect these 8 young leaders could have,
Right.
not just on policy, but on inspiring countless other Indigenous youth
Yeah.
to step up and find their voices
Yeah.
and make a difference.
Totally. And their stories are such a testament to the power of, resilience and determination
Right.
and that deep connection to one's culture and community.
Yeah,
They're proof that age is no barrier to leadership.
absolutely.
And what I find so refreshing is that they're not all taking the same path. They're artists, they're advocates, they're working in healthcare, education, you name it.
It's amazing.
It shows that there's so many ways to create change.
Yeah, and it really challenges that traditional idea of what a leader looks like, right?
Totally.
They're not trying to fit into a mold.
Yeah.
They're embracing their individual strengths and passions to shape the future.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
I want to leave our listener with this question.
Okay.
What if we all took a page from their book? What if we all committed to listening more, learning more,
Right.
and doing more to support Indigenous communities?
Imagine the possibilities if we all
Yeah.
embrace that spirit of reconciliation and work together
I'm
to
down.
build a more just and equitable future for all Canadians.
Yeah.
What these 8 young leaders are doing is truly paving the way.
It's a future worth fighting for.
Yeah,
And I have a feeling this is just the beginning of their journey.
me too.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll be back soon with more stories that matter.
Sounds good.